about concussions is out there for anybody who has one. It's not like you can go take an x-ray, see a broken bone. It's not so straightforward.
Right.
It's symptomatic.
Hey guys, Dr. T here again with Joy. Welcome back to the Two Thumbs Up podcast. We're super excited to have you here with us today. I want to again shout out to Derek Stevenson last week for being on the show. Talked about his experience as a BYU linebacker, concussions, and all the ins and outs of his brain injury and his injury situations. And Derek, thank you, brother. We love you. Appreciate you being on the show. And we'll have you back. So, hi, Joy.
Hi.
How are you?
So good.
Good to see you today.
You too.
How's life been for you?
Life's been good.
Okay, right here, close to the. Is that too close to the microphone? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. We want to be able to hear you.
All right. Cuddle in here.
So today we wanted to talk a little bit about something that interests both of us.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, concussion and brain injury. But there's something that's interested me over the last number of years is this idea of neuroplasticity. Do you feel like we're too close? Should we back up?
No, I think it's fine.
We're hovering around one microphone. So
we share.
yeah. So this idea of neuroplasticity, and we've talked about this before. Yeah. And so what is your take on, and essentially, folks, neuroplasticity is a physiological event, a neurological event, a biochemical event where our brains and our nervous systems actually learn. It's where a piano player becomes a master piano player. It's where a guitarist becomes a master guitarist. It's where a snowboarder becomes an expert snowboarder through neuroplasticity of learning, repeating patterns to create excellence. And all of our brains do it. All of our bodies do it. And so it's a really interesting phenomenon because it correlates to brain injury. Mm-hmm. It actually correlates to emotional health and mental health and all of those things because the information we feed ourselves creates the pattern. And so I love the example even of a dancer or a painter or an aerialist or an acrobat or a football player or the ability to hit a baseball, mm-hmm. Just that neuroplastic pattern of creating things that work or don't work. So
when you say neuroplasticity, it's the ability to be consistent in a movement or a pattern that's your natural path.
Yes.
And then if something happens to disrupt it, it's how do you
it
create
can change
that
it. Yes. Yeah. So for example, it's like we speak English. Uh-huh. Well, it's because our parents and our environment used that frequency, that tone of those sounds uh-huh. to call it English. And if we were living in China, we will speak Chinese. Mm-hmm.
And I would understand that.
Yes. So we would speak Chinese uh-huh. because we're in that. And that's a neuroplastic event. Okay. That's a pattern. That's a waveform. And we correlate it to sound. And then neuroplastically, our brains create that experience called Chinese language mm-hmm. or dancer or pianist mm-hmm. or guitar player. And so it's like, it's why we become excellent at something. It's a learning mechanism. However, oftentimes in specific events, like a concussion uh-huh. or a stroke mm-hmm. or those types of things, that neural pattern has been disrupted.
Yes.
Have you heard of people that have had strokes having to relearn to speak?
Yeah.
Or all of those things, walk and on and on and on. It's because they've had a damaged pathway. But the good news is it can be rerouted. The brain can relearn and the nervous system can relearn. And again, when it comes to brain injury, it's to varying degrees of relearning, and we would love everyone to have an 100% return to functionality. But the brain will relearn. The nervous system will relearn and reconnect and rebuild new neural circuitry.
And that's why the physical therapists come up with the treatments that they do to start triggering those parts in the brain that are damaged.
Yes.
So that it promotes your brain healing, right?
Yeah, and well, yes, but as it learns new things, there is a de-escalation or an anti-inflammatory response because the brain relearns. And so it's not in this fight mode anymore. It starts to gradually come out of the fight mode, like I've been injured, into a more of a parasympathetic, which is the rest, the chill, the vibe energy. Instead of sympathetic fight, I've been injured, right? It readdresses that, activates vestibular mechanisms, ocular motor reflex mechanisms, and assists the patient in calming their nervous system down. And then the brain and the body does the magic.
I think it's so amazing that it has that ability to heal. Especially when, I mean, I think a lot of times people think you have to just rest after an injury, and rest is very important and helpful. However, getting the movements going again, triggering the eye movements and the balance training,
Let's just
trigger inside.
Let's use you open to being an example. Okay, so you had a concussive event, right?
Yes.
And we've talked about that on the show where Joy, I was almost going to call you Brittany. I'm like, who's Brittany? Joy had a significant concussion, and you had some symptoms. What were some of your symptoms?
I had headaches, confusion, dizziness, overwhelmed, PTSD. To drive, it was very difficult. Everything was overwhelmed. Sound, light sensitivity. I had
annoying coworkers.
I talked to people for my job, and I could not, for the life of me, recall words. I'd be trying to explain one of our processes or anything, and I couldn't find that word. And I always felt like it was right there. I can't see it. I can't find it. And so then I would just move on. And I also felt like I physically was in the room, and then my head was way up there somewhere.
And with you, later on, we actually found what in your brain as a result of the concussion. After we did the imaging and the CT scans and the MRIs.
Yeah, we found tiny little, what would you say?
They're little tiny areas, and it's in your occipital lobe, because I've seen the images. Little tiny specks of whiteness indicating neurological damage to that area related to the concussion. We saw it. It's there.
Yeah,
it's still there, right?
Yeah.
So you went through the Concussion Pros program. And as you did the movements and the exercises and all the things that our doctors did with you, what did you begin to feel then?
Definitely relief. Like all of the overwhelmed became manageable, and I was able to be a better mom because I felt more patient. I felt like I wasn't on that fight or flight mode. And I could calmly think through things or work through things.
So what you described is being in that sympathetic fight or flight, I've been injured, your brain. That's the mechanism, and we'll talk about that here in a second. And then as you did the exercise, as you dropped into parasympathetic. And what was your result?
I was able to get back to life and I
And
felt
what
calm.
happens now if you still don't do your brain exercises?
Symptoms will come back.
Yes. And,
Yes.
and that's neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
Because you literally started down a path and your brain says, yeah, I dig this. I'm feeling really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
However, the old pattern of injury is still there, right?
Yes.
And if you fall off and not do your brain exercises, those symptoms come back.
Yep.
But as you re-engage in your exercise
Mm-hmm.
program, and this is years later, her brain still says, do your exercises. Yes.
Still.
Yeah. And so that's what's interesting here, because we've never arrived, folks, which is good news, because it's always a process. Our bodies are always in a process of learning, of expanding, of literally finding that beautiful space of healing and clarity
Mm-hmm.
and optimizing life and all of those things.
Yeah, I do feel like for me to realize my brain is more like a muscle, and I train my body to be strong, so I need to train my brain to be strong too. And it's continuous. It's not like I can just work out once and then I'm fine. I have to continually work out not just my body, but my brain as well. And that's when I feel the best.
Yep.
That's when my symptoms are gone. That's when I can do life way better.
So just in that example, staying conscious with your exercises, staying
Mm-hmm.
conscious about your process of healing, all of
Yeah.
these things. And so we see this across the board with whether it's an orthopedic injury or a neurological injury, being consistent, not too much, not too little, just this nice little waveform of movement that creates this overall learning. And if we stop, the old neuroplastic ways begin to show up.
Mm-hmm.
But as we move forward, we're still building circuitry, we're still building. And again, neuroplasticity means the plasticity or the elasticity or the pliability of the nervous system. As a matter of fact, not just the nervous system, the pliability elasticity of the musculoskeletal system, the biochemical system, which correlates to emotion and mental health and all of these things, yes?
Yeah.
And so everything, if you look at it, to kind of jump out there a little bit, everything nature is very neuroplastic. It ebbs, it flows, it creates.
Mm-hmm.
It literally, from going from spring to summer, if you're open to it, is a very similar event to neuroplasticity. It's a waveform. We just wave into summer. We wave into fall. And so nature does this. You can see it in the blossoming of a tree or a flower. It's like it manifests. And so the same thing applies to our bodies, specifically when it comes to, we're talking about concussion and brain injury. And one of the things we love about brain injury, is that it's kind of a mystery still in the healthcare space.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's like, if someone's got a shoulder injury or a knee injury, it's like, yeah, you tore your rotator cuff, or hey, you got a MCL tear, or you've got a meniscal tear, right, in the knee. We know what to do with that. With the brain, it's still this, hey, does this player go play, or do we wait?
Yeah.
We say we have these protocols, but across sports teams, I promise you, they all vary. And then when it comes to the general public, who gets in a motor vehicle accident in an intersection,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have the resources an athlete has. As a matter of fact, most athletes don't have the resources collegiate and professional athletes have. If you're a snowboarder or a high school player,
Mm-hmm.
or a mom that's driving kids to practice and gets hit in an intersection, you don't have the resources when it comes to brain injury that sports teams have.
Yeah, and on top of that, concussions are tricky because it's not physical, it's symptomatic.
Mm-hmm.
So physically, I looked fine. and normal. I didn't feel normal.
Right.
So how do you show the extent, the damage that has been done? You can't. Like my imaging didn't come and show anything for years.
Yeah.
Because scar tissue took a while to show. I just had symptoms.
Yeah.
So that's the tricky part about concussions is out there for anybody who has one. It's not like you can go take an x-ray, see a broken bone. It's not so straightforward.
Right.
It's symptomatic.
And that's why on our little handouts or pamphlets we give out a lot of times, folks, I wanted to go through some of these symptoms because Joy's absolutely correct. A concussion is actually diagnosed via symptomatology. There's no blood test, there's no MRI. Now, our imaging is getting better, but a concussion is literally diagnosed by symptoms. And we have, in our offices, we have testing mechanisms like a video nystagmography, VNG, or balance tracks, which assist us in determining vestibular injury and oculomotor, all these different things. So we can test. However, when a patient comes in and starts listing symptoms like this, headache, migraine headaches, dizziness, vertigo, sound and light sensitivity, misophonia, which is sound sensitivity syndrome, chronic pain, blurred vision, impaired decision-making, memory loss, confusion, anxiety and apathy, aggression, depression, personality changes, PTSD, lack of impulse control, OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, difficulty concentrating, diminished attention span, seizures, dry eyes. And these are just a few. We could have added to this list. So I guess the message, well, I know the message. The message is if you've had a brain injury, right, a concussive event where your brain got jarred or you fell or you know, I would highly always suggest you get checked out. And this isn't a advertisement for our Concussion Pros program. It's real because can these symptoms be long lasting?
Yes.
Life changing.
Yeah. And that would become my new normal.
That becomes your new normal.
Yeah. It's affected my sleep so daily, or I should say nightly.
So talk to us a little bit about what you mean by your new normal.
After my concussion, my brain just goes to survival mode. And the survival mode becomes daily. And so I start altering things that I used to do and used to enjoy because it was either too overwhelming or I would get too dizzy or it was like crowds are hard still because the sound and the overwhelming information coming in is in effect. So a lot of things that I do, I'm more maybe introverted now.
And before you knew this was sort of related to your concussion, you were in mystery about what the problems were, right?
Yeah.
And then once we discovered that it was related to your concussion, it all started making sense for you and for the doctors that was working with you. But how did it affect your family? What's interesting to me, and we see this a lot, folks, is this is happening inside of a person, but then they're living with family members, they're married, they're in relationship with other people, and those people see this person as different, but there was never a correlation made between the difference and the concussion.
Yeah. And
a lot of times they're like, we've had people, it's like, this is a completely different person, or we don't know why they're so tired or why they're so irritable or why they're this or that or the other, right? Because there's been no correlation.
Yeah.
And
because
so what was that
internal. It's sad, actually. For me, I have three daughters, and the sound was overwhelming, and so my ability to handle the normal everyday craziness that comes with kids, it was already overwhelming just to be there. All the sounds would just put me over. So I had anger.
Yeah.
But it's not like
And then they don't
I
know
was
why mom's
angry.
angry now, though, right? Is that,
Yeah, because I was confused.
Yeah.
I was snapping at him. I'm like, why did I just do that? That's not normal for me.
Yep.
And they don't understand it. So we were all feeling confused about this. And I feel for those who experience this and don't get the treatment that they need, because then that becomes their new normal. And that's going to affect relationships everywhere. Like if you're in a relationship with a person, that they're not going to want to be around somebody who's mean and ornery, and like I was tired all the time.
All tired,
like, I had no energy, and it's actually really sad. Yeah.
So part of the reason we want to get the word out here, folks, and we spend a lot of time and energy literally in the community talking to people about concussion, is because what Joy just described. There are possibilities when it comes to recovering from a concussion. And if you've had one and you've had any of those symptoms that we just described, you're not making them up. They're a real thing. And so it's super important for you to realize that. And then possibly begin to correlate maybe some changes you've experienced, even hormonal changes, to, hey, I was in an accident 6 months ago, or I was snowboarding and I hit my head on the I fell and hit my head real hard. So in your mind, take a look at your health history, and if you've had some of these symptoms begin to show up, it's possible that it's related to a concussive event. And you don't have to lose consciousness to have a concussive event. And there's a significant population that has a head trauma that develops post-concussive syndrome, which is a lot of these symptoms we've talked about. But so there are, and it is sad, but have we learned a ton? Have you learned a ton?
So much.
Yeah. What because of this, what would you say is some of the things you're super grateful for?
Well, I'm grateful for my job because it actually makes it easy for me to talk about what we do and what we provide and why it's important. And
again, that wasn't an advertisement, so go ahead.
But I will always speak highly of this company, whether I work here or not, because results show it works and it helps.
Yeah. And
so the good news is there is treatment and there is something to be done. And as simple as it is, these little movements that you do daily matter, and they heal. It gives me the tools for my body to heal. Yeah. And so if it can happen for me, it can happen for anybody. And that's the good news.
That's the good news. And one of the other things we love about the concussion world is that we're always learning new things. Just wrap this up today. Again, thanks, Joy, for being a part of this whole thing. I'm grateful for you too. But the good news about this is, with concussion, is we're always learning new things, and there's so much new information coming into this space. And one of the things we strive to do with the Concussion Pros program is to always be learning as well. We're in a neuroplastic event as a company and as providers, so we're learning too. So super exciting. We're super grateful for you. Thank you, folks, for being listening to the Two Thumbs Up podcast. Check us out on Spotify, Insta, TikTok, and I think we're on Facebook. But we love you. Have a beautiful day. Go enjoy the spring day, and see you soon. Love ya.